sorry about that, you can expand the type definitions inside the physical files to see the coding constructs or the programming constructs that are contained by those type definitions. Like in this instance, we've got a class called, which is inside a physical file program.ts. There's a class that is defined called program, and inside that program we've got a method called main method, which takes as its parameter an array of strings and it returns the void. The void, it basically means that it doesn't return anything to the caller. And if you double click on the type, on the programming construct which of your choice to see what its contents are, the Visual Studio will take you straight to that programming construct, and then you can start viewing it as you want and to see what are its contents, and you can view the programming logic that way. So if you notice, this main method is adorned with static keyword. The static keyword, it's basically telling the compiler that this method is not defined on an object scope level. It defines on a class scope level. What that means is that when the CLR calls this main method, it doesn't have to create an instance of the type or of the class in which this main method is defined. It will just call this method without creating an object of program. It will call this method by saying program.main. If you don't adorn your method with static keyword, it becomes object scoped, which means before you can call that method, you will have to create an instance of the class into which that method is called, and then call the method on an instance on an object scope. So C# requires that your code logic be contained inside a type definition. Code logic are programming constructs such as properties of the type, delegates, events, and methods or functions. Those are programming constructs. And then a type definition would be one of the set, class, interface, delegates, or structures. So C# requires that your program logic or the your programming construct have to be contained inside a type definition. You cannot have a method outside of a class or a structure, an enumeration, or a delegate. You have to put the logic of your code inside a type definition such as a class.